The simmering tension between Drake and J. Cole has finally taken center stage, and recent events suggest that things are far from cordial. Sources close to the situation claim that Drake has, in subtle yet unmistakable ways, confirmed that his relationship with J. Cole is strained, and fans are noticing the signs. From cryptic social media posts to veiled lyrics in his latest releases, observers argue that Drake is signaling frustration, disappointment, and perhaps even outright disdain for his fellow rapper. But the story doesn't end there. Insiders reveal that J. Cole recently cut Drake off in a very public yet understated way, sending a message that the competitive energy between the two has reached a boiling point. This combination of subtle jabs and clear boundaries has set social media ablaze, with fans dissecting every word, post, and interaction to figure out the full story. Drake's subtle confirmation that tension exists comes through in both interviews and his music. Analysts note that while Drake rarely speaks negatively about peers publicly, the timing and tone of his recent statements, coupled with pointed lyrics, suggest that his feelings toward J. Cole are far from friendly. Fans have pointed out specific lines in his latest tracks that appear to reference conflicts, misunderstandings, and competitive dynamics between the two artists. The implication is clear. Drake is frustrated by what he perceives as J. Cole's dismissive attitude or lack of recognition, and he isn't shy about letting the world know through his art. Meanwhile, J. Cole's decision to cut Drake off has only fueled the narrative. Insiders explain that the separation wasn't dramatic or overtly hostile, but it was unmistakable in its impact. From declining collaborative opportunities to distancing himself from shared industry circles, Cole has drawn firm boundaries, signaling that he is not interested in maintaining a close or competitive relationship with Drake. Fans have interpreted this as a power move, asserting that J. Cole controls his own space and refuses to be drawn into unnecessary rivalry or drama. The reaction on social media has been intense. Fans and commentators are analyzing every lyric, interview snippet, and social media interaction between Drake and J. Cole. Memes and heated discussions dominate Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, with fans speculating on the reasons behind the rift and predicting what might happen next. Some argue that Drake's subtle jabs are a response to being cut off, while others suggest that the tension reflects long-standing competitive dynamics between two of hip-hop's biggest names. Either way, the situation has captured the attention of the music world, with every move scrutinized for hidden meaning. Analysts point out that this conflict isn't just personal, it's strategic. Both artists operate at the highest level of hip-hop, and their reputations are built on influence, credibility, and cultural impact. The tension between Drake and J. Cole highlights how competition, respect, and ego intersect in the music industry, especially when two major forces occupy the same space. Insiders suggest that Drake's frustration and Cole's deliberate distancing are both reflective of this high-stakes environment, where artistic pride and public perception are constantly in play. The feud also raises questions about collaboration and respect in the hip-hop world. Fans wonder whether this conflict will prevent future collaborations, influence industry alliances, or shape how other artists navigate relationships with both Drake and J. Cole. Analysts note that the dynamics between these two stars serve as a reminder that even at the top, the balance between camaraderie and rivalry is delicate, and public perception often drives private decisions. Ultimately, the unfolding saga between Drake and J. Cole is a lesson in modern hip-hop politics. Drake's subtle confirmation of tension, combined with J. Cole's decisive cutoff, has created a spectacle that fans cannot ignore. The situation is part personal, part strategic, and entirely captivating, offering a window into how two of the biggest names in the genre manage rivalry, respect, and influence. As fans continue to dissect every interaction, one thing is clear: the Drake and J. Cole dynamic has shifted, and the world is watching. From veiled lyrics to deliberate distancing, the drama is as much about artistry as it is about power, influence, and reputation. In a genre where every word and gesture carries weight, this latest development has proven that even the biggest stars are not immune to conflict, and the stakes have never been higher. The tension between Drake and J. Cole has been a topic of speculation for years, but recent developments suggest that the rift between the two hip-hop giants is deeper than fans ever imagined. What initially appeared to be a subtle competitive dynamic has now escalated into a situation that insiders describe as tense, personal, and strategic. While Drake has long maintained a public image of cordial relationships with his peers, observers note that in his latest music and interviews, there are unmistakable hints of frustration toward J. Cole. These hints are subtle, layered, and carefully crafted, typical of Drake's approach to addressing conflicts without outright confrontation. But fans and industry insiders are picking up on the signs, fueling speculation that the relationship between the two artists is strained to the point of outright tension. Insiders reveal that the situation escalated recently when J. Cole, in a deliberate yet understated move, began to distance himself from Drake. This cutoff, as many are calling it, wasn't dramatic or publicized, but its impact is clear. Cole has reportedly declined collaborative opportunities, limited interactions with shared industry circles, and made it apparent to mutual associates that he does not intend to maintain a close or competitive relationship with Drake. Industry analysts suggest that this move is both personal and strategic. Cole is asserting control over his own space while signaling that he will not be drawn into unnecessary rivalry or drama, even with one of hip-hop's biggest stars. This decision has had immediate repercussions, creating tension, speculation, and intense discussion among fans, artists, and critics alike. Drake's response, according to sources, has been a mix of subtle frustration and calculated messaging. Analysts note that in his recent interviews and social media posts, he has not directly addressed J. Cole, yet there are clear references to conflict, disappointment, and rivalry. Lines in his latest tracks appear to allude to perceived dismissals or lack of recognition from Cole, highlighting Drake's awareness of the tension and his desire to respond creatively rather than confrontationally. Friends and collaborators describe Drake as someone who internalizes slights and channels them into his music, and this situation seems to follow that pattern. Every lyric, social media post, and public appearance is being analyzed by fans for signs of his true feelings, turning the perceived feud into a cultural event in itself. The fans' reaction has been swift and intense. Social media platforms are overflowing with speculation, memes, and debates about the feud, with users dissecting lyrics line by line, scrutinizing interactions, and interpreting social media activity as coded messages between the two artists. Some fans frame Drake's response as a subtle diss, a calculated effort to express frustration without escalating the conflict publicly. Others praise J. Cole for his apparent restraint and for drawing firm boundaries, interpreting his actions as a demonstration of confidence and control. The discussion has become one of the hottest topics in hip-hop circles, with every move from both artists generating further commentary, analysis, and speculation. Industry experts suggest that this tension highlights a broader dynamic in hip-hop today: the balance between competition, respect, and influence. Both Drake and J. Cole are at the top of their game, and their reputations rely on both commercial success and artistic credibility. The perceived rift underscores the delicate interplay between ego, recognition, and public perception in the music world. Drake, despite his commercial dominance and streaming records, appears frustrated by the subtle but firm stance Cole has taken, demonstrating that even the biggest stars are affected by issues of respect and influence. Meanwhile, Cole's measured distancing shows a level of strategic thinking, as he maintains control over his career while avoiding unnecessary public conflict. The implications of this tension extend beyond personal relationships. Analysts note that the feud could influence collaboration opportunities, industry alliances, and even the way fans interpret each artist's work. There's speculation that Drake's future releases might include further veiled references to J. Cole, while Cole may continue to assert his independence and maintain distance. For fans, the situation has become a complex puzzle. Every lyric, post, and interview is examined for hidden meaning, and each development fuels the narrative of rivalry. This dynamic illustrates how modern hip-hop is shaped not just by music, but also by perception, strategy, and the careful management of relationships. Experts also point out that the creative strategies both artists are employing reveal how personal and professional tensions are intertwined in modern hip-hop. Drake channels his emotions into his music, transforming frustration into lyrical content that engages fans, generates conversation, and maintains his public image as a clever, self-aware artist. J. Cole, on the other hand, demonstrates discipline and strategic restraint, signaling control over his own narrative while avoiding unnecessary escalation. The contrast between these approaches has made the situation compelling to fans and analysts alike, turning a private tension into a public cultural moment. Ultimately, the unfolding drama between Drake and J. Cole highlights the high stakes of fame, influence, and respect in hip-hop. Both artists operate at the peak of the industry, where every action is scrutinized and every word has weight. Drake's subtle confirmation of tension combined with Cole's deliberate distancing shows that even at the top, navigating relationships, rivalries, and respect is a complex and often delicate endeavor. As fans continue to dissect every lyric and social media interaction, it becomes increasingly clear that this is more than just a personal disagreement. It is a reflection of how modern hip-hop operates, where influence, recognition, and perception are as important as musical talent. The Drake and J. Cole dynamic offers insight into the pressures, strategies, and competitive energies that drive some of the biggest names in music, demonstrating that even superstars must navigate relationships carefully in an industry where every action is amplified, analyzed, and interpreted. This feud, subtle yet undeniable, has captivated the music world, showing that the line between personal and professional rivalry in hip-hop is often thin, and the stakes are always high. The tension between Drake and J. Cole has reached a point where fans, critics, and insiders are paying close attention to every interaction, lyric, and social media post, trying to decode the underlying dynamics. Sources close to the industry claim that what started as subtle competition over influence and recognition has escalated into a situation that is both personal and professional. For Drake, the growing distance and fame boundaries set by J. Cole have become a source of frustration, subtly reflected in his music and interviews. Analysts suggest that Drake's approach, carefully crafted hints rather than direct confrontation, is a deliberate strategy to communicate dissatisfaction while maintaining his public image, keeping fans guessing and stirring debate across social media platforms. J. Cole's decision to distance himself from Drake has been calculated yet understated. According to insiders, Cole has turned down collaborative opportunities, limited public interactions, and reinforced his independence within industry circles, sending a clear signal that he is not interested in maintaining a competitive or close relationship. This cutoff is strategic, reflecting both personal preference and a broader understanding of reputation management in the music industry. Sources suggest that Cole's actions demonstrate a disciplined approach to fame and collaboration, one that prioritizes his creative space and artistic integrity over public feuds or rivalry narratives. This move has not gone unnoticed, with fans interpreting it as a powerful assertion of autonomy and influence. Drake, on the other hand, appears to have chosen a different path. Rather than confront Cole publicly, he has embedded his frustration in his lyrics and social media presence, creating subtle yet unmistakable signals to his audience. Observers point to recent tracks where the themes of rivalry, betrayal, and unrecognized efforts seem to directly reference Cole. While these lyrics are open to interpretation, the timing and content strongly suggest that Drake is responding to the perceived dismissal or distancing by Cole. This method aligns with Drake's long-standing strategy of addressing conflict through music rather than direct confrontation, allowing him to control his narrative while fueling fan speculation. The public's reaction has been immediate and intense. Social media platforms are flooded with commentary, memes, and detailed analysis of potential subliminal messages. Fans are dissecting every lyric, video, and post for hidden meaning, comparing Drake's tone and word choice with past interactions to piece together the story. Many fans argue that this feud highlights not just a personal disagreement, but a clash of styles, philosophies, and approaches to hip-hop culture. Drake's commercial-minded, stream-driven dominance is juxtaposed with J. Cole's measured, introspective, and integrity-focused approach, creating a natural tension that fans are eager to unpack. Industry analysts explain that this conflict underscores the complexities of relationships in modern hip-hop. At the top level, Success is not just about talent or commercial performance. It is also about perception, influence, and respect. Drake's frustration appears to stem from a combination of personal feelings and professional pride, while Cole's distancing can be seen as a calculated effort to protect his creative freedom and maintain control over his public image. Both approaches are strategic, reflecting an understanding of how rivalries and alliances can shape careers and influence fan perception. The situation also sheds light on the evolving nature of feuds in hip-hop. In the past, conflicts often erupted in public confrontations or diss tracks. Today, artists like Drake and J. Cole navigate rivalries with subtlety, using lyrics, social media, and career decisions as indirect forms of communication. This approach allows them to maintain professionalism while still signaling their position, generating discussion, and keeping fans engaged. The nuanced nature of this feud demonstrates that modern hip-hop conflicts are as much about perception, branding, and cultural influence as they are about personal grievances. Fans continue to speculate on how this tension might affect future collaborations and the broader hip-hop landscape. Some wonder if the distance between Drake and Cole will prevent future joint projects, while others anticipate that the subtle messaging may escalate into more direct lyrical exchanges. Either scenario keeps the audience engaged, as every move is analyzed for clues, ensuring that the feud remains a dominant topic in music circles. Analysts note that such high-profile tensions can have ripple effects, influencing the behavior and strategies of other artists who observe how two of the genre's biggest names navigate rivalry and respect. The creative strategies employed by both artists reveal much about their personalities and approach to fame. Drake channels frustration into his music, producing tracks that resonate with fans while subtly addressing conflicts. J. Cole, conversely, prioritizes control and autonomy, ensuring that his career and creative decisions are not dictated by outside pressures or rivalries. This contrast creates a dynamic tension that is compelling to fans and critics alike, highlighting the balance between personal expression and strategic career management in the modern music industry. Ultimately, the unfolding situation between Drake and J. Cole illustrates the complex interplay between ego, influence, and artistry in hip-hop. While it may appear to be a personal feud, the reality is that it reflects broader dynamics within the industry, where every decision, lyric, and interaction carries weight. Drake's subtle confirmation of tension and J. Cole's deliberate cutoff serve as a case study in how modern artists navigate rivalries with sophistication, strategy, and creativity. As fans continue to analyze every detail, the story grows more intricate. This feud is not just about rivalry. It's about control, perception, and cultural influence at the highest level. The drama between Drake and J. Cole has captured global attention, proving that even the biggest names in hip-hop must carefully manage relationships, navigate subtle conflicts, and strategically balance personal feelings with public perception. The outcome remains uncertain, but the intrigue is undeniable, offering a rare glimpse into the complexities of power, respect, and artistry in contemporary music. The ongoing tension between Drake and J. Cole has captured the attention of the hip-hop world like few rivalries have in recent years. While fans have long speculated about the nature of their relationship, recent events suggest that what may have once been subtle competition has transformed into a high-stakes conflict that blends personal frustration, professional rivalry, and strategic maneuvering. Insiders say that Drake has increasingly expressed dissatisfaction, both through his lyrics and public statements, while J. Cole has taken deliberate steps to create distance, signaling that he will not engage in competitive back-and-forths. The dynamic between these two giants of hip-hop has thus become a cultural spectacle, analyzed on social media, dissected by industry experts, and debated across fan communities worldwide. Drake's response to the tension has been consistent with his long-standing approach to conflict, subtle, calculated, and primarily conveyed through his music. Analysts point to recent tracks where the themes of rivalry, betrayal, and being undervalued appear pointedly relevant to his interactions with J. Cole. Every word, cadence, and metaphor seems carefully selected to express frustration without descending into outright confrontation. This method allows Drake to maintain the appearance of professionalism while simultaneously signaling to fans and critics that he is aware of Cole's distancing. Observers suggest that this type of communication is quintessentially Drake, strategic, clever, and layered, designed to generate discussion while keeping the focus on his artistry. Meanwhile, J. Cole's approach contrasts sharply. Rather than responding publicly or through music, Cole has chosen deliberate inaction and subtle avoidance. Insiders describe this as a form of cutting off, where Cole has declined collaborations, limited public appearances with mutual associates, and reinforced boundaries that make it clear he is not interested in pursuing a competitive relationship with Drake. This strategy reflects both self-respect and professional discipline. By maintaining distance, Cole preserves creative autonomy and reinforces his image as an artist who prioritizes substance over spectacle. Fans have widely praised Cole's measured restraint, interpreting his approach as a demonstration of control, confidence, and emotional intelligence. The social media response to these developments has been intense. Platforms like Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok are ablaze with speculation, fan theories, and detailed lyric analyses. Memes depicting the tension, commentary threads comparing the two artists' strategies, and breakdowns of recent tracks dominate feeds. Fans debate every nuance, from the tone of Drake's statements to Cole's selective public interactions, interpreting these moments as evidence of a complex rivalry. Many argue that Drake's subtle frustration demonstrates vulnerability rarely displayed by a commercial powerhouse, while Cole's calculated distancing reflects a level of strategy that reinforces his credibility and influence. Industry analysts note that this conflict illustrates the evolving nature of rivalry in modern hip-hop. Whereas past disputes were often loud, direct, and confrontational, today's top artists navigate tension with subtlety and sophistication. Lyrics, interviews, and social media posts become tools to communicate messages indirectly, maintaining a public image while signaling intent to peers and fans. Drake's nuanced responses and Cole's strategic restraint exemplify this evolution, showing how high-profile conflicts are now as much about perception, influence, and narrative control as they are about personal feelings. The professional stakes are high. Both Drake and J. Cole operate at the pinnacle of hip-hop, and reputation, credibility, and cultural influence are critical components of their careers. Insiders suggest that Drake's frustration is partly tied to a desire for recognition and influence in spaces where Cole exerts authority, highlighting the competitive pressures at the top of the industry. Conversely, Cole's distancing signals that he does not feel obligated to engage, asserting independence while avoiding public drama. This delicate balance between ego, artistic integrity, and strategic career management has turned their relationship into a case study in modern hip-hop dynamics. Fans also speculate about the broader implications for collaborations and alliances. With both artists commanding massive influence, the tension could affect who they work with, how they engage with the industry, and even the direction of future projects. Analysts point out that the interplay between these two forces shapes not only their own careers but also the surrounding hip-hop ecosystem, as peers and emerging artists observe the strategies, messaging, and public perception being carefully managed. Every lyric, post, and interview becomes a piece of the puzzle, feeding into fan speculation and keeping the story alive. The creative strategies employed by both artists highlight their distinct approaches to influence and communication. Drake channels frustration into lyrics that are clever, layered, and open to interpretation, maintaining fan engagement and asserting his narrative. J. Cole relies on measured inaction and distance, allowing his absence to speak volumes while preserving his creative autonomy. Together, these approaches illustrate a broader lesson in the art of competition. Influence is often exerted as much through restraint as it is through action, and perception can be as powerful as words or beats. Ultimately, the Drake-J. Cole tension is a reflection of the pressures at the highest levels of the music industry. Even the most commercially successful and critically acclaimed artists are not immune to rivalry, miscommunication, or frustration. The combination of subtle musical jabs, strategic distancing, and intense fan scrutiny creates a dynamic that is as complex as it is compelling. This situation highlights how modern hip-hop navigates competition, respect, and influence, offering fans a rare glimpse into the interplay between personal emotion, professional strategy, and public perception. As fans continue to analyze each lyric, interaction, and social media post, one thing is clear. The dynamic between Drake and J. Cole has shifted. What may have once been healthy competition has evolved into a tense, calculated, and high-stakes relationship, where every word, gesture, and project is examined for meaning. The intrigue surrounding this subtle yet undeniable feud continues to dominate conversations, proving that even at the top, influence, recognition, and reputation remain powerful forces driving behavior in the hip-hop world. The simmering tension between Drake and J. Cole has now evolved into a high-stakes dynamic that has the entire hip-hop world watching closely. Over the years, their interactions were often subtle, marked by mutual respect, occasional collaboration, and friendly competition. But recent developments indicate that their relationship has shifted into one of deliberate distance and strategic maneuvering. Insiders explain that while Drake is used to commanding attention and maintaining influence across the industry, J. Cole's measured detachment and refusal to engage in conflict has frustrated him, creating a nuanced and highly publicized rivalry that fans are dissecting at every turn. This tension, a blend of personal and professional rivalry, has now become a defining narrative in modern hip-hop. Drake's response to the situation has been layered and deliberate. Rather than addressing J. Cole directly, he has used his music and social media presence to express subtle frustration and dissatisfaction. Observers point to recent lyrics that appear to reference feelings of being undervalued, dismissed, or cut off by peers, leading many fans to interpret them as thinly veiled commentary on Cole. Analysts note that Drake's ability to encode personal sentiments into his music allows him to maintain his public image while also fueling speculation and engagement among fans. This approach is classic Drake, strategic, carefully calibrated, and designed to dominate conversation without overt confrontation. Meanwhile, J. Cole has taken the opposite route. Sources close to the situation reveal that Cole has intentionally created distance between himself and Drake. He has declined opportunities for collaboration, limited joint public appearances, and maintained selective interactions with mutual acquaintances in the industry. By taking this approach, Cole is signaling that he prioritizes autonomy and creative freedom over maintaining competitive or friendly relations with Drake. Fans have praised Cole's restraint, interpreting it as a sign of maturity, focus, and strategic awareness. While Drake channels his frustration through public-facing art, Cole's silence and inaction speak volumes, demonstrating the power of absence as a form of messaging. Social media has amplified the tension between the two artists. Platforms like Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok are flooded with discussion, analysis, and speculation. Fans examine every post, lyric, and interview snippet, debating whether each word contains hidden meaning directed at the other artist. Memes, reaction videos, and commentary threads dominate feeds, with some fans interpreting Drake's lyrics as pointed jabs, while others highlight Cole's strategic distancing as a masterful exercise in control. The online conversation underscores how modern hip-hop rivalries are not confined to music. They extend into social media, fan engagement, and cultural interpretation. Industry experts point out that this conflict highlights the complex dynamics of fame and influence at the top of hip-hop. Both Drake and J. Cole are operating at the pinnacle of the industry, where reputation, credibility, and cultural relevance are as important as commercial success. Drake's frustration is partly a reflection of the high stakes involved, being acknowledged by peers, maintaining influence, and asserting dominance in an arena where subtle gestures and recognition matter. J. Cole's decision to distance himself reinforces the idea that control over one's creative and professional space is equally vital. The interplay between these approaches illustrates the strategic considerations that shape relationships, rivalry, and reputation at the highest levels of the music world. The conflict also reveals how modern hip-hop rivalries have evolved. In previous decades, disputes often erupted in public confrontations, diss tracks, or media statements. Today, the most sophisticated artists use indirect communication, lyrics, interviews, and social media signals, to convey messages while maintaining their brand and public image. Drake's layered lyricism, paired with Cole's measured avoidance, exemplifies this evolution. Both approaches are strategic, allowing each artist to assert their position while minimizing unnecessary public drama. The feud becomes less about open conflict and more about influence, control, and the careful management of perception. Beyond personal tension, this rivalry carries professional implications. Fans speculate about potential collaborations, alliances, and the direction of future projects, all influenced by the current dynamic. Drake's subtle frustrations may manifest in upcoming releases, while Cole's continued distance could affect industry relationships and creative opportunities. Analysts suggest that the ripple effects of this feud extend beyond the two artists themselves, influencing how other performers navigate competition, collaboration, and public perception. Every project, interaction, or lyric is analyzed as part of a larger narrative that shapes the hip-hop landscape. The contrasting strategies of Drake and J. Cole also highlight their distinct approaches to influence and artistry. Drake channels emotion into public-facing music, using his art to convey frustration, assert dominance, and engage fans. Cole, conversely, leveraged restraint and selective engagement, demonstrating control over his narrative while maintaining artistic integrity. This juxtaposition emphasizes the multifaceted nature of influence. It is not only exerted through words, music, or public actions, but also through strategic silence, deliberate distancing, and disciplined self-management. Fans and industry observers alike are fascinated by how these complementary strategies interact, creating a tension that is both compelling and instructive. Ultimately, the Drake-J. Cole dynamic is more than a feud. It is a lens into the complexities of modern hip-hop. At the highest level, rivalry is not just about personal feelings. It is about influence, perception, and the careful management of artistic and professional identity. Drake's subtle confirmation of frustration, coupled with Cole's deliberate disengagement, exemplifies how sophisticated this navigation has become. Every lyric, post, and interview is a calculated move, contributing to a broader narrative that fans eagerly dissect and analyze. As the situation continues to unfold, one fact is clear. The relationship between Drake and J. Cole has changed fundamentally. What may have once been friendly competition has evolved into a strategic, high-stakes interaction that blends emotion, artistry, and public perception. The unfolding drama serves as a compelling reminder that even the biggest stars in hip-hop must navigate complex relationships, balance ego with strategy, and manage public scrutiny, all while continuing to produce music that resonates globally. In this subtle yet powerful tension, the art of rivalry becomes as important as the art of music itself. The ongoing dynamic between Drake and J. Cole has reached a stage where it is not just a personal or professional tension. It has become a cultural phenomenon that has captivated the hip-hop world. The subtle signals, indirect messaging, and deliberate distancing have transformed what once might have been a friendly rivalry into a calculated, high-stakes situation. Observers note that both artists are navigating this tension with sophistication, each leveraging their unique approach to maintain influence, protect creative autonomy, and engage audiences. While Drake communicates his frustration through lyrics, social media, and strategic public statements, J. Cole employs restraint, choosing silence and distance as his tools to assert control. This contrast has made the situation one of the most discussed and analyzed narratives in contemporary hip-hop. Drake's strategy relies on subtlety and layered messaging. Analysts point out that his recent tracks contain references to perceived slights, competitive tension, and the feeling of being undervalued by peers, which many interpret as allusions to J. Cole. Unlike overt diss tracks of the past, these lyrics are carefully crafted, allowing Drake to maintain an appearance of professionalism while simultaneously signaling his discontent. This method also engages fans, who dissect every line for hidden meanings, turning his frustration into a cultural conversation. By embedding his emotions into music, Drake continues to command attention while asserting his perspective in a manner that is both creative and strategic. J. Cole's approach, in contrast, is characterized by deliberate non-engagement. Sources reveal that he has declined collaborative opportunities, minimized interactions with mutual industry associates, and reinforced boundaries in ways that are subtle yet unmistakable. While Drake communicates outwardly, Cole communicates through absence, demonstrating that influence and control are not always expressed verbally or through music. This strategic restraint reinforces Cole's image as an artist who prioritizes artistic integrity over rivalry and underscores the power of self-discipline and autonomy in navigating professional relationships. Fans have widely praised this approach, seeing it as a masterclass in strategic career management. Social media has magnified every development in this unfolding saga. Platforms such as Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok are inundated with discussions, memes, and analyses. Fans dissect lyrics, interviews, and social media posts line by line, speculating on their meaning and significance. Some interpret Drake's messages as pointed commentary or veiled disses, while others highlight Cole's careful distancing as a demonstration of dominance through self-control. The online discourse has turned the rivalry into a participatory spectacle, where fans actively interpret, debate, and speculate, transforming private tension into a public cultural event. Industry analysts emphasize that the conflict between Drake and J. Cole is not just personal. It reflects the pressures and dynamics at the pinnacle of hip-hop. Both artists operate within an ecosystem where reputation, credibility, and influence are as important as commercial performance. Drake's frustration is partly fueled by a desire for recognition and parity, especially in spaces where Cole has established authority. Conversely, Cole's deliberate distancing highlights the value of self-direction and maintaining control over one's career trajectory. The interplay between these strategies demonstrates that rivalry in modern hip-hop is as much about perception, influence, and narrative as it is about personal feelings. This situation also provides a lens into the evolving nature of conflict in the music industry. Whereas feuds in the past were often overt, with public confrontations or diss tracks dominating media coverage, today's top artists navigate tension with subtlety, using indirect signals and strategic restraint. Drake's lyrics serve as a vehicle for expressing emotion and engaging fans, while Cole's absence communicates power and autonomy without inviting public drama. This nuanced approach illustrates that modern rivalries are multidimensional, combining personal sentiment, career strategy, and public perception into a single complex narrative. The ripple effects of this tension extend beyond the two artists. Fans speculate on the potential impact on collaborations, alliances, and future projects, while peers and emerging artists observe closely, learning lessons about influence, control, and strategy. Every interaction between Drake and Cole is examined as part of a larger narrative about how superstars manage competition and reputation. Analysts suggest that this dynamic may redefine how rivalry is understood in hip-hop, emphasizing strategic communication, cultural influence, and long-term career considerations over overt confrontation. Both artists also demonstrate how creativity can serve as a tool in navigating conflict. Drake channels his emotions into music that resonates with fans and shapes cultural conversation, turning frustration into art. Cole, through restraint, creates intrigue and maintains control, showing that strategic inaction can be as impactful as direct engagement. The contrast between these approaches highlights the diversity of tactics in modern music, where influence is exercised through words, art, absence, and timing. Fans are captivated not just by the tension itself, but by the skill and strategy with which both artists manage their positions. Ultimately, the unfolding story between Drake and J. Cole underscores the complexity of navigating relationships, rivalry, and reputation at the highest level of hip-hop. Even for artists of immense commercial power and cultural influence, the balance between personal feeling, professional strategy, and public perception is delicate. Drake's subtle confirmations of tension and J. Cole's measured distancing illustrate how top-tier artists negotiate respect, influence, and autonomy while maintaining their creative output. As this saga continues, one thing is certain: the world is watching. Every lyric, interview, and social media post is scrutinized, analyzed, and interpreted, reflecting both the stakes of their rivalry and the fascination it generates. The tension between Drake and J. Cole is more than a feud. It is a study in strategy, artistry, and influence in contemporary hip-hop. It demonstrates that in the modern music landscape, even the most subtle gestures carry weight, and the interplay of personal, professional, and public dynamics can shape careers, fan perception, and the culture of the genre itself. In this delicate dance of rivalry and restraint, both Drake and J. Cole continue to define what it means to wield power, maintain influence, and navigate the intricate world of modern hip-hop. The Drake and J. Cole saga has captured the attention of the entire hip-hop community, proving that even the biggest names aren't immune to tension, rivalry, and strategic maneuvering. Their dynamic is more than just personal. It's a lesson in influence, perception, and navigating the pressures of fame. Drake's subtle frustrations, expressed through his music and social media, contrast sharply with J. Cole's deliberate restraint and calculated distancing, creating a story that fans cannot stop dissecting. Every lyric, post, and interaction becomes a clue, fueling debates, fan theories, and endless online discussion. Now it's your turn to join the conversation. What do you think about Drake's subtle messages and J. Cole's measured response? Who do you believe is handling this tension more effectively? And how might this feud impact future projects, collaborations, or the broader hip-hop scene? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Smash that like button, subscribe for more insider breakdowns, and turn on notifications so you never miss the latest updates on the biggest hip-hop stories.